5-point NPS scale versus 11-point NPS scale. I get asked this question a lot. Which scale should we use? So if you need a single line answer, use whatever is easy for your customers to respond and work on that feedback. If you have no intention or no bandwidth to work on NPS, stop thinking about choosing a scale. Just forget about NPS or taking customer feedback at all. But now, if you have the bandwidth and you feel that, okay, I can work on it, then you can ask yourself the question whether I should use a 5 scale or an 11 scale. So let's talk about both the scales today, starting with 11 scale. So 11 scale was the one which was launched in 2003. Most widely used NPS number, mostly used for relationship NPS surveys and sometimes for transaction. And how the score is calculated is 0 to 6 are considered as detractors, 7, 8 are considered as passives, 9, 10 are considered as promoters, and percentage of customers who are promoters minus percentage of customers who are detractors. That's how the NPS is calculated. While on the 5-point scale, it is not widely used, but used by some companies. I've recently saw Microsoft Windows popping up an NPS 1-5 scale survey on my desktop. One good thing about it, it is easier to answer, at least on the mobile surveys. How the scores are calculated, 1 to 3 are considered as detractors, 4 as passives, 5 as promoters, and then again percentage of promoters minus percentage of detractors. So both scales have some advantages and different disadvantages. Like 5-point scale is easier to choose for the customer, but there are some fluctuations in the result. So there are some companies who have tested. One example is Comcast, 6 months running NPS survey with 11-point scale and 6 months running an NPS survey with 5-point scale. And the result was a 8 to 9% or score difference in NPS, where NPS with a 5-point scale has a lower score as compared to 9 and 10. One of the reasons is that people consider 5, if we are using 1 to 5 scale, people consider 5 as a very, very good score, and they only give it when they're super happy with the brand. But in case of 9 and 10 in 1 to 11 scale, they can easily give a 9 rather than giving a 10. So that's why there is a difference. The second thing is, if you do NPS benchmarking, meaning comparing your NPS scores with competitors, with 5 scale, you cannot do that, because if you are measuring on 5 and most of the competition is measuring on 11, you'll not be able to compare scores. That is not an apple-to-apple comparison. Also, where 11-point scale is widely used, but if you answer it on mobile, you'll see how difficult or how small the circles or boxes get to for a person to choose an answer on. On web, it's easier. Then the other thing is, if you're using 11 and if you want to switch to 5 now because you feel you want to make it easier for the customer, it is not easier to switch. Reason being, if you're measuring for last 4-5 years on 11-point scale, you won't be able to compare your scores with the new scale. So if you switch to new, start afresh. Now, let's suppose you're just starting out and you are considering, okay, whether I should 11 or whether should I choose 5. Now, let's suppose you're not measuring NPS today and you want to choose whether I should pick a 5 or I should pick an 11 scale. Pick a 5 scale if most of the users will answer the questions on mobile, since the customers are used to it. Pick an 11 scale if in the future you want to compare yourself with your industry competition, for example. For us, we are picking an 11-point scale because we do it on the web page. We have a service and some product where you can measure customer feedback, and we do 11-point scale. It pops up every month on our website, a simple 1 to 11 question that how do you feel, will you recommend us or not? Now, whatever you choose scale, make sure you have someone who's going to work on that feedback. Because if you work on that feedback, you'll never care about what the actual score is. Your score will automatically keep on rising. We have done this in the past. In the last 3 years, we were at a score of 40. Now we are sitting at 83. But it's not about focusing on the score. It was focusing on the negative feedback that we were getting and then fixing those bugs or adding those features in the product which they were requesting. So hope this video helps. If you have anything else, just write anything to us at tanuj.devan@neurosensum.com and we'll respond to it. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.